On today's show, Faraday Future calls it a day. For now, Tesla readies itself for the Model 3 launch, and just how fast will the Lucid Air go when its speed limiter is removed? These stories and more coming up next. This is ecoTricity's ecoTEC Roundup show from New Zealand's only carbon zero certified renewable electricity company. We're 100% Kiwi and 49% community owned. Switch today at ecotricity.co.nz. Hi there, I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield, a professional musician turned electric vehicle crusader, and I'm here to bring Kiwis a weekly roundup of the biggest news stories around the world in relation to cleaner, greener transport. As always, thanks for joining us. Oh, and here's hoping you're surviving the snowmageddon afflicting large parts of New Zealand right now. Put another log on the fire, snuggle down in your favourite blanket, and I'll do my best to make sure that you forget it's bloody cold outside. Okay. At the end of last week's show, I told you that Faraday Future's FF91 had set a new record at the iconic Pikes Peak hill climb circuit in Colorado in the production electric vehicle class. And at the time, I mused that it seemed a little unfair because the car wasn't technically yet in production. Well, this week, Faraday Future shelved its plans for the $1 billion Nevada factory where the FF91 was due to be built, saying that it was working on restructuring its plans for a more modest production facility. It also happens to have taken place 1 week after a Shanghai court froze the assets of Faraday Future's Chinese owner after he failed to make on-time loan payments to various Chinese banks for his other big company, Leco. Faraday Future and the FF91 isn't dead yet, of course, but it seems inevitable that we'll be attending a funeral sooner rather than later. As I'm sure you're aware, Tesla's Model 3 is pretty close to launch, and as a consequence, Tesla has been working hard getting its sales and service network ready for the first Tesla Model 3 deliveries, which will take place on July 28th in the USA. So far, Tesla has been opening up a series of new service and sales locations, as well as beefing up its mobile fleet of service rangers with more staff and more equipment. The goal? To make sure that most service issues can be resolved without a customer ever visiting a service centre. And at the same time, Tesla has published plans for some major expansion to its supercharger network, including plans for new supercharger sites with 40 or more supercharger stalls. I should also note that it's not gone unnoticed that there are a couple of Tesla Model 3s sitting at Auckland Airport. Although they arrived before official production began, which makes them prototypes, it gave New Zealand the honour of being the first place the Model 3 has been sighted outside of the US. We're chasing some leads on why they're there and what they're doing, but if you have any more info, do get in touch so that we can share it with everyone here. It might now be nearly 3 years since the Volkswagen Dieselgate scandal broke, but we're still seeing more and more companies implicated in emission scandals, ranging from incorrect laboratory testing practices through to purposely fitting hardware designed to circumvent regulatory tests. So far, we've seen Renault, BMW and Fiat Chrysler implicated to some degree, and now it's the turn of Daimler, which, as Reuters reported this week, is now under investigation for selling more than 1 million cars in Europe and the US with excessive emissions. At the moment, the company is suspected of making false claims in advertisements and potentially fitting cheat devices in diesel-engined cars, but until the investigation really kicks into gear, I'm guessing we won't know for sure. What's sad, of course, is that all of these automakers could have easily avoided the problems by focusing their attentions elsewhere, like electric drivetrains, for example. Oh well. Earlier this year at the Geneva Motor Show, Renault unveiled the Zoe eSport concept car, a hot hatch-inspired vehicle packing the standard 40 kilowatt-hour Renault Zoe battery pack, but putting out 320 kilowatts of power at the wheels thanks to a dual motor setup. At the time, I had some serious car love, as did some of you, but we never really expected it to enter production. But as Autocar was told by Renault this week, a production version of this concept, called the Zoe RS, could enter production by 2020, making it at least conceivable that the day of the electric hot hatch could soon be upon us. And I, for one, can't wait. It's not confirmed as definite yet, but the way Renault talks about it, it's certainly being seriously looked into. Watch this space. HyperLoop One of the two commercial entities trying to turn Elon Musk's Hyperloop Alpha white paper into a commercial reality, hit another milestone this week by completing its first full-scale HyperLoop track test at its facility just outside Las Vegas, Nevada. Sadly, the test wasn't anything to get super excited about. It was a 70 miles per hour slow-speed track test involving a full-sized dolly travelling in a vacuum. But from here, the company says it will be working up to test speeds of several hundred miles per hour before moving on to reach the ultimate goal of 700 miles per hour or more. It's also just completed building its first Hyperloop capsule test prototype, which looks a little bit like a high-speed train. I guess that's what it is, but I can't wait to see it in action. Tesla's referral program is now an established part of Tesla's marketing strategy, leveraging existing, happy owners to help encourage more people to the brand by offering discounts off new cars to anyone who uses the referral code of an existing owner when they place their order. And part of the process, of course, is rewarding those owners for making the referral in the first place, offering a tiered incentive program that gives kickbacks and perks for each referral they make. Well, this week, we learned that Tesla has unlocked a new high-end referral treat for those high-rolling Tesla owners who make a lot of referrals, the chance to get a heavily discounted next-gen Tesla Roadster, or for those who refer enough people, a free next-gen Roadster. Now, I did make a video on this during the week, but I'll admit to getting the math a little wrong. But if you want to find out more, be sure to watch it when this show is over. With a large number of automakers now serious about building electric vehicles in decent volumes, we heard this week that Volkswagen thinks that the automotive industry will need about 40 gigafactory-sized facilities in order to switch 1/4 of their fleets to electric by 2025. That's a little high, considering Tesla CEO Elon Musk recently claimed 100 gigafactories could turn the world off fossil fuels for transportation and energy for good. But we're certainly on the brink of a major boom in battery manufacturing regardless, which is possibly why Daimler announced this week that it intends to build its own battery production facilities inside one of its existing facilities. And electronics giant Siemens announced a new partnership with AES to form Fluence Energy, a new company dedicated to designing and manufacturing massive battery storage systems to help us dump oil, gas, and coal forever. My take on this? The lithium-ion production facility marks a new industrial age for us all, and here's hoping it's cleaner and greener too. Spend any time in any major metropolis and you're guaranteed to witness the idiocy that takes place when an emergency vehicle needs to get by and car drivers either ignore the vehicle altogether or do the stupidest things to try and get out of the way. And with the world of autonomous vehicles just around the corner, it may be something that's mercifully about to die out, as more and more people rely on their cars to do the driving for them. But to make sure its cars behave more appropriately when an emergency vehicle is around, Alphabet's Waymo has just spent time with its local emergency services, training its cars on how to detect and respond to emergency vehicles. It's quite the interesting situation too, as autonomous vehicles may find themselves breaking the usual rules of the road, such as crossing a red light, just so that emergency vehicles can get past. I guess we'll have to wait to find out just how the AI handles it and how those coding the system get around all those rule-breaking situations. As some of you will know, by the end of this year, Tesla will have hopefully completed installation of the largest ever grid-tied energy storage system in the world in southern Australia, a project Tesla CEO Elon Musk said would be free if the company couldn't supply and install all of the equipment necessary to make it work within 100 days of signing all the necessary contracts. Well, Tesla hasn't said how many power packs it will need to install in Australia to complete the project, which will tie the power packs to a total of 99 massive wind turbines. The total power output of the system is expected to top 100 megawatts, which is enough power to provide 30,000 homes with power instantaneously. And with Tesla already working hard to produce the battery cells that the system will need, PopSci has done a really nice article explaining how the entire system will work and how it will all be tied together. If you're into engineering, you should check it out after this show. And finally, by now you should be aware of Lucid, another Silicon Valley electric car startup eager to take some of Tesla's market share away from it. Far more organised and a lot less flashy than Faraday Future, Lucid has always focused on the drivetrain first, with one of its early prototypes, literally a high-powered electric white van, spanking a whole range of vehicles on the drag strip. As you might remember from earlier this year, Lucid's pre-production Air electric sedan peaked at an incredible 349 kph on the test track during early testing. But last week, the same car went back to the same track with its speed limiter removed to see what would happen, and it hit an eye-watering 378 kph. Naturally, driving at that kind of speed in New Zealand is illegal, and if you did, you'd drain your battery pack pretty quickly. But hey, it's good to see a plug-in car give the fastest petrol cars in the world a run for their money now, isn't it? And on that happy note, it's the end of another ecoTEC show. As always, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, tell your friends about the show, and if you've got some feedback, be sure to send it our way. As always, I'll be back soon with more ecoTEC goodness, so make sure you hit that notification bell to find out the minute a new show is uploaded. In the meantime, enjoy your weekend, make sure you do something fun, and don't forget to help keep those wind turbines spinning by switching to New Zealand's only carbon zero certified renewable electricity company. That's it, thanks for joining me. I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield. Ka kite, see you next time.